How did you identify the need for a show like this to pop up in Burbank?
Well, for a while now, I've kind of wanted to do a show, just a small thing for my customers. And Jay, one of my partners, was up here, and he does the Brea show as well as the Westminster show. And he was up here, and I just casually asked him, I'm like, did you ever think about maybe doing a show up in Burbank? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, let's partner up. Let's do something. I think it's kind of the perfect location. We have an airport literally across the street from the Marriott. And he was thinking big from the get-go. And I'm like, I was thinking something smaller. And he's like, well, this is the biggest facility in Burbank. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. When did we get to this level already? But the bottom line is it costs about $800 to get your feet on the floor at Dallas. It costs about $1,500 to get your feet on the floor in Atlantic City. That money evaporates. It goes to the airlines. It goes to the hotels. Southern California, I apologize to any other part of the country, but Southern California is the best card scene in the country, and it's not even close. So why isn't there something here for our folks that they don't have to fly to Dallas or Cleveland or Chicago and that money evaporates? Let's bring people here. Let's bring national level dealers here. And I'm more the brand of this. I'm not the brains. I have no idea how to run a card show, and I still don't. I'm leaving that to Jay and EJ, but it's sold out. Everyone's talking about it, and we want to get through it. We want everyone to have a good time, and hopefully we can scale it over the next couple of years where it can be something that is very exciting going forward.
So what's the plan then, Rob? Is it, I mean, depending on the success of this one, which it seems like it's already successful if it's sold out, but what are the plans? Once a year, twice a year moving forward?
At least twice a year. The problem is there isn't a really huge space in Burbank, and we wanted to call it the Burbank Show, but we could go elsewhere and still call it that. The plan is to be able to scale it and to find a facility where we can take it to 40,000, 70,000, 100,000 square feet, whatever the community wants and demands, and whatever kind of support we get from the sponsors as well. We want to kind of bring back that Anaheim feel, that LA Convention Center feel. There's really no reason why we can't do it, but we need to get through the first one. We need to learn what was good, what wasn't good, and start getting some commitments and try to do it in February and maybe try to do it in August, September, like 6 months. We want to have one for the snowbirds, and we want to have one that doesn't directly conflict with the national, maybe having it a month before or a month after.
So what about the response you've had in store from customers? You're obviously promoting. I mean, when I was in your shop in early July, you were promoting it back then. There were flyers. What's the response like from your foot traffic in the store? How excited are they for this show coming up?
They're totally amped. I mean, it's just the buzz. Everybody seems like they're coming. Everybody seems like they're getting 4-day passes. Everyone's excited about the trade nights. And the thing is, they're like, Rob, what are you bringing? I'm like, I'm really not bringing anything. We're kind of keeping the store intact as an extension of the show. Ryan's coming with money to buy, and we're literally bringing the largest selection of singles ever at a show. A quarter a card, by sport, by year, inserts, parallels, rookies, just the ultimate bargain boxes, because we want all price points. We don't want just crazy stuff on the floor. We want people spending hours going through cards as well. So the buzz is just ridiculous, and I'm so excited. I did have a nightmare the other night, though, that literally no one showed up. It was just one of those surreal things where I woke up in a cold sweat going, whew, that was just a dream.
Too funny. Yeah, I have similar nightmares where I have an exam, like I'm in university, I have an exam I never studied for. It's like, what? I've been out of university for 30 years. In any event, so you mentioned that Ryan's going to be there with money to spending some money. So he'll be competing with guys like Mark, guys like FD, who are going to be rocking the floor, looking to buy cards as well. FD, start with you. Like, what is your expectation for the show, and how, like, are you pumped about this? Are you happy that Rob and his partner are doing this? What was your response, your reaction when you first found out about this show and just the magnitude of it?
Oh, I'm stoked. I've talked to EJ. I've talked to Trevor, talked to Jay. Since I've heard about this, since it was first announced, I'm extremely excited. I moved to LA about 12, 13 years ago. And when I got here, I thought LA should have this kind of show coming to LA. And when I went to the National last year in Chicago, I kept thinking about LA as a place for something like this to happen. I'm excited that Burbank, Rob, Ryan, everybody's bringing this here because it's going to be a dynamite. I have no doubt.
Right on. Let's hear from you, Mark, because you're in the same sort of shoes as FD. You'll be working the floor, looking to buy up some inventory for yourself. What was your response when you first found out about this show?
Oh, I was really excited because, like Rob mentioned before, he talked about the Anaheim Convention Center vibe, the LA Convention Center vibe, Hollywood Park vibe. A lot of these guys who are in the business right now don't know what that vibe actually is. So I'm excited for these guys to get to experience it. So it's like some of these guys who have never been to Dallas or to the National, like they're going to get to experience it in their own backyard.
Right on. So it's great to hear you guys excited. Before we get to Coleman, I want to go to Brad because, Brad, you're in sort of the same shoes. You are on mute, by the way. You're going to be walking the floor, checking out the scene. What is your goal or mission for the show? Are you looking to buy, or are you just looking to network? What are you going to be doing there?
I mean, I think one of the coolest things about the different card shows here in LA is that there are so many of them, and you can go just to window shop. You can go to meet your neighbors. You can go and find something rare and different, because I think this is the mecca of the hobby, just in terms of the amount of shows, the amount of card shops that have just opened in the last 2 years is insane, and there's enough business to support it. And so I'm looking for different things. I'm honestly kind of tired of just basketball cards and football and baseball. I love the obscure stuff. I love it when I see a favorite musician that I didn't even know they had a card. So that kind of stuff is intriguing me, and I'm seeing it more and more at the different shops I go to here in LA. So I'd love to see how big this show is, because the reason why I felt fine not going to Atlantic City is because, one, it's Atlantic City. Two, it's $2,000 to go from beautiful Southern California to, I don't want to diss AC, but it's hard to top beautiful Southern California to go anywhere. And, the ability to bring something so big close to home just makes it so much easier to not feel obligated to go to these other cities that are across the country.
Yeah, I think that to me is one of the most important things, is that, I always say I'll go to the National no matter where it is. However, after this year, I will go to the National no matter where it is, except Atlantic City. And that's nothing against some of the fine people of Atlantic City, but just not somewhere. It's tough to get to is really the biggest thing. It's at least a full day of travel each way for a lot of people. That's why I love Chicago for the National. It's central. It's a major hub for just about everybody, even though it can be expensive with flight and hotel as well. Brad, you mentioned, some music cards, non-sports cards. Can we expect to see, and I'll actually go to you, Coleman, on this, because you're the one guy on the screen other than Rob who's going to be set up as a vendor at this show. And assuming you know the scene down there, are we going to see a lot of music cards, any Hollywood type cards, more so than we would elsewhere, because this show is in Southern California, like basically in LA?
That's a great question. I'm not too sure on that. I know once in a while I'll see stuff like that at the local shows. I don't know if we'll see it like at a greater scale. Most of the people I know that set up at the local shows are pretty heavy just in the sports cards. But there's of course like the Pokemon stuff and the Magic stuff and there's a couple other, alternative type of cards and stuff. So I see them. I do see like, Frank Sinatra cards and stuff like that. There's a guy that goes to the shop named Agassi who has some pretty cool, like old school cards like that. I think he had like a Frank Sinatra. He called it a Frank Sinatra rookie card or something like that. It was kind of cool. But yeah, not too much that I know of.
It's funny you mentioned Agassi, because when I was in Rob's shop for the first time, which was March of this year, I'm standing around, I spent about 2 hours looking at all the showcases, and this guy we started chatting. It ends up being who you're talking about. It ends up being Agassi. And I quickly realized that he was known in the shop. Rob, you knew him by name. I'm sure you knew most of your customers by name, which is it's that whole Cheers vibe. It's just awesome. It's just nice to hear his name, because he was super nice and friendly. And I was happy to meet Agassi. Rob, you got to run right away. So why don't we just put that same sort of question to you? What are you expecting in terms of like selection for the floor walkers, the customers, the collectors, investors walking around that that might be different from what you saw? Because you and I, we shared a cab one night in Atlantic City. What do you think we might see different in the Burbank show?
Well, I think that just the selection of cards and the rotation of cards that we have out this way. You walk in my shop, literally you walked in yesterday. Today, you're seeing all kinds of fresh inventory. We're bringing in some of the biggest hitters from all over the country. The things that they had at the National, chances are it's totally different what they're bringing to Burbank. And that's really exciting. I think that we're going to have guys selling dollar cards, quarter cards. I want something for everybody, basically. And again, our shop will be open the whole time that the show is going on. And we've worked extremely hard here that if you're coming in maybe the day before, the day after, you want to see our store, we'll be fully staffed, fully stocked as well. But again, we want to scale this. The National's not coming back to LA until at least 2026. We're hoping that we've kind of planted a flagpole and it's something that we can scale up. And they might not even come here in 2026. We'll see. But over the next 3 years, we want to build something special and build a community and just work together with everyone. But on that note, the card mother is already at the restaurant and she wants the card father there. Jeremy, thank you so much. Can I get on again one of these days?
Yeah, you bet, Rob. We'll definitely be in touch. And I look forward to seeing you next week at the show. Thanks for making some time here tonight. Give our best to the card mother and enjoy your evening.